All right, I think we are ready to go.
We are on the air. Yes, we are. Well,
We
hello.
We are on the air. Welcome. I am Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Concord Co-op Community Connections. We've got a really fun show today, and we're going to be talking about some wonderful things. Starting first with Leanne Melosi. How are you this morning, Leanne? Good morning.
I am doing pretty well. How are you?
I am wonderful. And of course, the man who's always smiling. Why shouldn't he be smiling? He's an amazing person. Greg Lessard from the Concord Community Co-op. How are you today, Greg?
I'm doing great. Great day. Nice weather out there. I am looking forward to today's show. Our guest today, or a great guest, and I just wanted to kick it off. Today's show is the co-op has a program. It's called the Rounded Up at the Register program, and we have had the program since April of 2019. And what the program is every month we select a nonprofit organization from our community, and then when you're at the co-op and you are checking out, you're asked if you would like to round up for that nonprofit organization. So, it could be a nickel, it could be a quarter, but it's amazing. Since April of 2019, so far, $73,000 has been raised for local nonprofit organizations. And so the nonprofit organizations are selected for the entire year. So this calendar year is completely booked. The organization for next month, rounded up at the register, is Family Promise. And I know a little bit about the organization, but there's more that I definitely want to ask Leanne about. I think you guys have had some very challenging times lately, and in general, I think you always have. But Nazzy, you look like you had a question, and then I have some questions.
Just a quick question before we toss it over to Leanne and we find out about her involvement. How do you select the organizations in which you help with the fund? So we're raising all this money. How do you select the different groups that we're going to give it to?
It's been different so far. Last year they were selected by the customers. Every time they purchase, they got during the month of July of 2019, they were given a little star, and they could vote for 50 different local nonprofits that were nominated. And so then the 12 with the most stars were the recipients for 2019. 2020. This year, the board really wanted to be more selective with those donations and to pick nonprofits that were really affected. We're really trying to help individuals that were had a negative impact from the COVID-19. So the organizations were really, those were really targeted for those organizations that were really trying to help individuals affected by COVID-19.
That's really good. Now, Leanne, what does it mean to you to be able to participate in this program?
It gives us a chance to talk about Family Promise. I'm still amazed. I've been with the organization for about 2.5 years now, and I still run into people. We've been around since 2015, and it's amazing how many people will say, "Who are you with?" I've never heard of them before. And we're actually the second shelter in Concord for families. There's only 2. So we serve a really wonderful, but a population I don't think gets a lot of attention. And so this is perfect. This is wonderful.
It really is. It really is. And we do have a substantial homeless population in the capital city. I've actually done research, and I know people that work with the homeless. So thank you for what you and your organization does to help these folks to try and get them back on their feet.
Oh, absolutely.
And your model is different in my mind. If you could go through a little bit about the service that you provide and how you provide that service.
Yeah. So we'll talk pre-COVID because that's where we were very unique. We utilized interfaith sites. So Family Promise has been around since about 1985. And they always use a rotational model. The woman that started it, Karen Olson, had said, that there's spaces here that are not being utilized, and there's a need. We need to shelter these people. And so she started in her church in New Jersey, and it just got bigger and bigger. We're now to 200 affiliates across the United States.
Wow.
So we try and partner. We try and partner in the community so that interfaith sites can offer their space. And we have over 500 volunteers that make meals. So each
Wow.
family, we keep 3 families or up to 15 people because of fire code. And they go from interfaith site to interfaith site once a week. There's a group of organized volunteers that take care of them. They sit with them, they chat, they make meals, they have shelter. We're able to keep the families together so nobody has to worry about having their children taken away from them.
Right.
It's a really nice way to mix 2 populations that probably would never intercross.
What's the structure? What's the structure? So somebody who is staying with you guys at Family Promise, what's the structure? Do you help them get back on their feet? Are you educating them to get back in the workplace, to get in their own home? What do you guys do?
Yeah, Nazzy, it's a great question. We actually work hand in hand with them. They're with us for 3 to 4 months, depending on what's available for housing. But we help them with everything from applications for low-income housing, food stamps, employment opportunities, helping them budget. We encourage them to save 7% of their income while they're with us.
Great idea.
It really does cover the gamut, and we try and partner with a lot of different organizations in the area so they can utilize community resources.
And Leanne, you mentioned, I think it's 3 families that you're serving now. Is that the extent of the families in the Concord area that are experiencing homelessness, or is there greater demand than you can service right now?
There's definitely greater demand. We're actually not up to capacity. We are only at 2 families just because of COVID and needing space to be able to quarantine. But we also have a program called diversion program, which is diverting from shelter. So we had been chosen in partnership with Synchrony Bank and National to partner in this pilot program. And we were given funding that allowed us to basically divert people from shelter by helping them anything from taking care of a utility bill to taking care of a bus trip to a support system that might be in another state. And we actually have been able to help over 35 families since March.
Wow.
Through that. So,
during COVID. How has COVID made your job more challenging? Because COVID has definitely made everybody's job more interesting. How has it made it more challenging for you and what your volunteers do?
Yeah, I have to say this year I've been on my feet. I've definitely had to be thinking, having backup plan to backup plan to backup plan. And so we tried to be creative. The need was still there. That wasn't going away because of a pandemic, and actually even more so a need because everybody was told to stay home and quarantine. Well, if you don't have a home,
how can you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
And your children are learning remotely. Where are you doing that?
Leanne, do you have all the resources you need? And if not, what do you need? And how could people help? How could they get in contact with you to help?
Great question.
Well, we're trying to be really creative because of COVID on how because people really want to volunteer and help. If you have, kind of a special passion, you're really good with budgeting. You have connections with educational system. You have connections with childcare. There's a lot of different ways. Certainly give us a call and let us know. You can call at the office. We're over on Loudon Road. Obviously donations are always welcome. We do have families when they move in. We actually just had a family that moved into their apartment for the first time in 4 months. They're really excited over in Warner. And, there's certain things that people will need. We can house the entire apartment in about 48 hours if people are willing to donate things. So,
well, thank you so much for coming on today. We wish you luck, and we hope COVID passes quickly so you can service all the more families as you really hope to do.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Got it. Keep up the great work. Thank you so very much, Leanne. All right, we've got another wonderful guest coming in. She's the operations manager for the Northeast Organic Farming Association of New Hampshire. It's Nikki Kolb. Nikki, did I say your last name right, Kolb?
Yes.
Nikki Kolb, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yes, and as I said, Nikki is with NOFA New Hampshire, and they have a farm share program, and it's the farm share program that is really dedicated for. Well, you talk about your program, Nikki. I don't need to talk about it. You do that.
Tell us what you do, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you. So we are the Northeast Organic Farming Association of New Hampshire, and we have a farm share program that connects low-income individuals across the state with discounted organic community-supported agriculture shares, also called CSA shares or farm shares. So the program covers 75% of the funds for these organic shares, and we've been able to grow the program every year since it launched in 2017. And this year we served over 125 people with 43 shares during the 2020 pandemic. So we were really happy to provide a season's worth of organic fresh produce to families across the state.
That's really cool. Now, did you find it more challenging this year to distribute the food, to get it out to people? What were some of the biggest obstacles that you guys had to deal with this year?
Yeah, I think so. NOFA New Hampshire partners with certified organic farmers throughout the state. So the farmers themselves are the ones who are distributing the shares to the recipients. So NOFA New Hampshire isn't handling that directly. However, we are placing the eaters and recipients with the shares. So I think the greatest challenge was that even though we had the most money that we've had for the program in fundraising to date in 2020, there was such a demand that we weren't able to still feed everyone who had asked.
Who are some of the participating farms that you're working with?
Yeah, so there's been 13 farms over the several years, and many of them do repeat. So we had this year was Abenaki Springs Farm, Brookford Farm, Local Harvest CSA, Mountain Heartbeat, Piccadilly Farm, Pork Hill Farm, Stonewall Farm, Stout Oak Farm, and Worksong Farm. And Concord Food Co-op has participated as a farmer in the past too with Canterbury Shaker Village.
Of course. Now, tell us about some of the things that happen at these farms. I mean, because a lot of it's volunteer, correct? Volunteers coming in and helping out. Tell us about some of the jobs and things that they do.
Well, at the farms, many of the farms that we work with are smaller and family owned. So the farmers are very busy. Most of the CSAs and the farmers are focusing on certified organic vegetables. Some of them do have volunteers, but I think that many of them also work with employees, which is great, of course.
They do have paid employees. Yeah.
Any stories from some of the clients that are being served by this in terms of how they appreciate this program, or what have you received feedback in terms of how well received is your program?
Yes, I think this is one of our most well-received programs for sure. All of the recipients are always very grateful to have the help to get the season's worth of organic produce. Many of them say that they wouldn't have been able to access a CSA without the program's assistance, and that it's been a huge help to their family or to them individually. The program focuses on serving children, families, and seniors. So there's a gamut of people who need help for various reasons, and it's great.
Is it? I have a silly question, and please don't judge me if this is a stupid question. Is it more difficult to do this type of farming in winter as opposed to summer? I know a lot of it is indoors and you're inside, but is it more difficult to do when there's snow on the ground and it's colder? I guess.
Who's farming in the winter when there's what are you talking more about in greenhouses or hothouses?
Just in general. I mean, what are we farming in the winter? Because obviously most of the crops are growing outside.
Yeah. So I guess it's a seasonal program. If you could go through that a little bit, Nikki.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, so it is a seasonal program. The farm shares are generally from May until the end of October. Some of them run that whole amount of time. Some of them are only for 3 months in the height of the summer. Some farms in New Hampshire are doing 4-season farming, but most farms don't have a 4-season CSA or farm share model, though a few of them do.
And Nikki, NOFA New Hampshire is a fairly small organization, but you guys have so much on your plate. Again, if somebody wanted to learn more about your organization or how they could assist your organization, what would you suggest?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Definitely, of course, visit our website, nofanewhampshire.org. We have a number of educational and resource promotion programs, so people can attend our upcoming winter conference, which is going to be all virtual, of course, and that is February 13th through 14th. And the executive director of the Organization for Refugee and Immigrant Success, Mukhtar Idaho, is going to be our keynote speaker. In terms of volunteers, in non-COVID times, we would have volunteers helping us at events like winter conference or other activities, but because of everything going virtual, volunteers are really welcome to help us more as like a long-term partnership, being on our board of directors or serving on some of our board committees. Those are great ways to be involved in a more long-term way than just like a one-off event.
What programs do you have for youth? Because I'm a Cub Scout leader, and I'm constantly teaching my scouts to get involved in the community, get involved with farming, get involved with 4-H. What do you have for the youth? What's the age range that you have for youth volunteers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for youth volunteers, we haven't had very many youth volunteers, but we do welcome them. I think opportunities for educational activities would be the best type of thing. So, we're happy to give scholarship tickets to youth who would like to attend our winter conference, that they can learn more about farming and that type of educational capacity, or our other programs. We do have an organic gardening program also that's launching. Yes, that launching on February 23rd, and it's 15 classes. So we have had youth attend those in-person classes in the past. Again, it will be virtual this year. But so in terms of volunteering, they could help with some, light volunteering at those types of events and have a nice learning opportunity.
I think it's so important for the youth to know where their food comes from. It doesn't just come from the co-op. It's got to go somewhere first before it makes it to the co-op. And we here in New Hampshire, we're lucky that we do have such a rich farming culture. I think that's wonderful. I really, really do.
And Nikki, why organic? Why is organic important? Your organization is, Northeast Organic Farming Association. So why isn't organic important?
Right. Yes, organic is important because it does limit the use of many toxic pesticides. So food is healthier for both people and our communities. So the farm workers who are working on the land and with products are not having to be exposed to those types of chemicals. That's one of our main reasons for devotion to organic, and also organic land care as well. So beyond just farming and eating, being organic on our public lands and in our own backyards is really helpful to, of course, the environment, not just human health, but planetary health.
Nikki, thank you so very much for joining us and telling us about what you guys do. Greg, we have about a minute left. I want to really quickly focus on the co-op. What's new and exciting this week at the co-op in downtown?
Oh, the co-op. Well, they've expanded they're trying to bring back more and more to the hot bar. So every day you can get prepackaged meals on the hot bar, and we post the menu every day to our website. So I would encourage you to go to the website. In addition to that, they make fresh sandwiches every day. We have fresh sushi every day. Oh, the bakery is killer. So, it's our hot bar had to close down as an open concept serving area, but everything is prepackaged and there's some great meals there. And I would encourage you to go in, get a meal, and this month round it up for NOFA New Hampshire. At the register, after you purchase your meal, just say, yes, I'll round it up for NOFA New Hampshire. But in our basically our e-shop is just doing phenomenally well. Our entire store is online. So again, go to the Concord Food Co-op website, visit the e-shop, and you can see what kind of products. Our produce department is 100% organic. So I would encourage individuals to visit our store online to get a flavor of what is offered there.
and round it up. I love that program. I think that is a brilliant program. Greg, thank you. Once again, want to thank Leanne. Want to thank you, Nikki, for joining us. I'm Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire, and we'll speak again next week right here.
Great. Thank you, Nazzy. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.